We're on.
Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're here for a continuation of the January 8th meeting that was continued on February. And I'm just going to read the original posting. There will be a public hearing for an application for equitable waiver of dimensional requirements requested by Chinburg Development LLC, 16 duplex buildings, 32 units total, on Green Street, are a height of 40 feet 7 inches in height, which is taller than the allowed 35 feet in section 32-88 structural height of the Newmarket zoning ordinance. The properties are located at Stonehill Point at Hershey Green, EI Green Road, tax map R5, lot 132, R2 district. With that, does anybody have
Real quick. Should I?
Yeah.
Yeah. So considering that I am in a butter to the project, I'm going to recuse myself from the discussion and voting.
Okay.
So I'm just going to be a silent observer for the board meeting tonight.
Okay.
But just wanted to restate that.
And for the applicant, we only have 3 voting members tonight, which is the same.
Oh, yeah, you gotta elevate Lee first.
Oh, Lee's been nominated as a member of the board, appointed by the town council. Welcome aboard, I guess.
Thank you.
We don't have any special handshake or anything like that. But you're welcome to sit in and listen.
No, he's actually got to be voting.
He's
Correct.
on-
That's sit in and participate and vote. Have you read the previous minutes?
I have
You have, so you're familiar with the issues.
a little bit, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I read up as much as I could today.
So again, we're the three voting members. Hopefully Al will show up, or we'll have another voting member, but at this point in time, we don't.
Okay, understood, we're gonna go. I think but Kevin Baum, Phoenix Cortland Roberts, I'm here representing the applicant, Chinburg Development. Given that this has been continued a number of times, and I know some of the homeowners are here and have come out, we're gonna go forward with the 3. And to Mr. Better, it's, I will go through everything. Unfortunately, I don't think there's been that much covered at the last couple meetings just because of the way they went and didn't have a quorum last time. So there wasn't much in the minutes, but we'll go through everything. As a reminder to the members, and actually before I want to also introduce the folks I was just talking to, was just Matt Aza, who's the VP of Development for Chinburg, and also Sean Samus, who's the project manager for this project, which, as you mentioned, is the Hershey Green. I believe there are also some owners in the development are here tonight as well. The issue we have is there are 16 townhouse buildings, 32 units. Primarily, and we can get into it, but primarily due to inconsistency between the interpretation of the International Building Code and the zoning ordinance, were constructed. After they were constructed, it was discovered they were constructed above the 35 feet maximum in the zoning ordinance. And there's a couple reasons for that. As I understand it, the zoning ordinance is, though it does adopt the IBC, simply states that a maximum building height of 35 feet, doesn't address how it's measured. The International Building Code does an average of the roof, so when you have different roof features, dormers, etc., that can get averaged. And also, the other piece of that is and this is applicable to some of the buildings, differences in the building elevation to the ground elevation. Some are higher in the front, lower in the back. The plans for these buildings were presented showing the building heights. In some instances showing that the ultimate height was over the 35 feet. And building permits were granted, certificates of occupancy were issued. As I mentioned, there are 16 buildings. 15 of them were constructed completely or substantially before this was discovered, and the foundation is in. 25 units have been sold and are occupied. I mean, more than 25 have been sold, but 25 are occupied and have people living in them. And before this was discovered, and so we are here for an equitable waiver. In my mind, it's the sort of textbook application for an equitable waiver. I will go through the criteria, but basically it applies where, due to a good faith effort, a zoning violation occurs, and that zoning violation can't be corrected without significant detriment to the applicant. And in this case, it would require significant reconstruction of those buildings and displacement of 25 units and many occupants. So we think this is why this statute exists, and we certainly think it's applicable here. If you would like, I'll go through, it was in the submission, I'll go through the specific criteria briefly. There are 4 criteria that apply here. And this is pursuant to RSA 674:33A. One, that the violation was not noticed or discovered by the owner or the municipal official until after the structure is substantially completed. That was certainly the case here. Building permits issued, certificates of occupancies issued before it was realized that there was a question about the height. The violation is not the outcome of ignorance of the law, misrepresentation, or bad faith, but caused by a good faith error by the owner or municipal officer. Again, this is a discrepancy between the terms of the ordinance and the International Building Code. I think there's an argument that it may, that the code may apply, but we're not, regardless of that. We're not arguing that, but we think plans were submitted, permits were issued, and the buildings were constructed based on those plans. There was not any attempt to misrepresent the facts. It was simply a mistake that was missed, unfortunately, until significant construction had occurred. Next is the violation will not cause a public or private nuisance or diminution of value or diminish the value of the other properties in the area. These are brand new buildings, not going to be. These are brand new buildings. They are also within their own development. We think it's going to be an overall improvement, these buildings themselves. And unlike an error, here volume may actually help, because unlike an error where it's a single building that would be out of scale with the others, or would unreasonably shade its neighbors, they are consistent. It is also, if you've made it out to the area, there is topographic relief through this development too. So this is also, they are down a hill from pre-existing buildings. This is not a case, again, where these are going to really, we don't think it'll even be really noticeable for the naked eye. They're not going to stand out. They're not going to look like they're towering over the others. And so certainly no evidence that there'd be a public or private nuisance by granting this request, or that it would diminish the value of other properties in the area. And lastly, the cost to correct has to be outweighed by any public benefit to be gained by the correcting the violation. Again, in this case, given the circumstances, we don't really believe there's any real public benefit to correcting it. and certainly the cost is significant. Um, uh, reconstruction effectively of all of these buildings, and temporary displacement of 25 homeowners and their families. So in light of that, we think that that criteria is clearly met, and the impact is significantly outweighed by any benefit of fix. So for those reasons, we believe all of the requirements of RSA 674-33A are met, and we ask that the board grant the equitable waiver request. And we're happy to answer any questions the board may have about these criteria or the development itself.
Do we have any abutters out there that want to speak to this, or are you all property owners?
Property
Property
owners.
owners.
Okay,
If I may, just briefly.
okay.
So you mentioned that structure height is not determined in the code. It's actually in the definition of structure height. It's measured from the lowest grade to the top of the building.
Oh, I apologize. So, okay, I apologize for that then. So it is. I will say the code does apply, the building code, state building code, which does apply the IBC. So I stand by that statement.
Yeah.
I did not
So-
see that in the ordinance, so I apologize for that.
But you're right, the definition of structure height in the building code is different than what's in our ordinance.
So thank you for the clarification.
Does anyone in the audience want to speak to this, or?
I would just ask to have it passed because being displaced and having to move out of our homes for construction like this is extremely frustrating and difficult to deal with.
Yeah,
It's a brand new state that we just moved to, California,
there's multiple active duty military families.
us being one of them.
Thank you for your services. Do we want to discuss this? In my opinion, this is exactly the situation where the equitable waiver is designed for. Now, the plans didn't have the dimension on show the height dimensions on them, did they, or?
They did.
And it was 40 feet, whatever, or it varied, I understand
It
that.
varied, yes.
But
I do have
it was greater than 35
It was
feet.
greater than 35 feet, and, on the
And-
plans that I have, which, do have a change of elevation, but the plans that I have, it does have an elevation showing 40 feet, 4 inches.
So it wasn't just a GC ignoring that and saying, I like this pitch better, and,
No,
Okay.
it was not, it was not a matter of enough. I mean, everyone followed the plans and the permits. They just, this just was missed.
did we get any comments from, not residents, but abutters from surrounding,
Not since the January meeting.
was there any comment there? What was?
So my recollection was correct. The abutters were more upset about the development in general and about buffers than they were about the building height.
Sorry, it's not uncommon for the NIMBYs to come out. It won't be the first time.
In fact, I believe one of the comments, and I remember this, was that they don't want to see the roofs come down.
Mhm.
But,
That's what I remember too, but
yeah.
all right.
There's one foundation that isn't built on.
Since last month it's been framed.
Oh, apparently it has been framed.
But that's following 35 feet.
That would be, no, I mean, the intent is to still follow the permit plans. In large part because at this point, it would be out of place to have that. It would, it would change the pitch of the roof. the height relative to the others. So because this is a common development, the thinking is that it would, consistency with those approved plans and with the other building heights, it makes the most sense and causes the less, ironically, I think causes the least amount of impact
Yeah.
to the surrounding area.
And that's building number 16.
I don't
That's-
know. It's
Is that the last building?
16 of
The
16.
one closest to the,
Yeah,
It's
I
the
don't
la-
know what
it's-
the lot number is,
No,
but
it's the last one.
Yes.
The last
one. Yeah.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
and the, just for clarification too, those building permits were issued June of last year, so they weren't issued at all in 2024.
I'd be curious, could I just see the plans for a minute? I haven't had a chance to really look at them.
Oh, here, you know, you want the full,
It's okay. just
I
wanna
can
take a
see
quick-
it. These are just the sheets that show the elevations.
The elevations.
With the numbers there.
Okay.
We can
You were
provide
talking-
full plans then,
You
but-
were talking about differing ground elevations. I just wanted to see it. And this illustrates what I was looking to see. So I was just looking to see the relief on the ground. Well, we don't have any public comment coming in. The builders have made their statements. We've asked our questions. Does anybody have any questions or any comments on this before we try and move it to a vote?
Were there any repair issues that were a concern previously that have been addressed, like sidewalks or?
It's all brand-new development as far as I know, so it would have all been done at the same time. And again, when you read the criteria for an equitable waiver, this is basically the situations that it's made for. It's where there's no, it's not the result of an error or an overt error. It's just an involuntary oversight, for lack of a better term. Basically what it does is it looks to correct the non-conforming structure into a conforming structure. So that seeing as how, I'd like to make a motion that we move to grant an equitable waiver of dimensional requirements pursuant to NHRSA 674:33-A from Chinburg Development LLC for a non-conforming structure located at Green Road, tax map R5, lot 132, within the R2 zone district, as the equitable application satisfies the enumerated standards pursuant to RSA 674:33-A.
I second it.
Okay. So call for a roll call vote. Aye, okay.
Aye.
Aye, aye. You have three affirmative votes, and the motion passes.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for your patience, folks.
Thank you.
And if you want to serve on a board, we're always looking for, we need alternates. It's a great opportunity to serve your community. And Newmarket's a good community.
Replace us in a few years anyways.
It doesn't matter, we've got a rotating door.
Thanks again for your service.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you all.
With that being said, I believe the next there's no new business, no old business.
No new business, no old business.
Therefore, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So you had to pick me first, right?
Motion to adjourn,
Motion adjourned.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We don't need a roll call vote on a motion to adjourn.
I can vote on that one.
You can,
I can vote on that one.
hey, you voted on something.
I did.
Thanks for coming in.